Okay, next we're going to look at how to import XML files into Excel. XML is a more modern form of file format than CSV files. This came along when communication got better and we had the internet and we could send larger files back and forth. XML stands for Extensible Markup Language. Let me explain what that means by showing you what the inside of an XML file looks like. So I give you an XML file, 14-widgetmodels.xml. And when you double click on an XML file, what happens is usually it will open up in the browser. So I have a Microsoft browser here, and it looks like it's got a lot of gobbledygook. It's got different colors and so on. But what it boils down to is each one of these sections that are titled underscore widget export has the data for one row of data. So inside it we have an ID of 2, a name for the widget, the model size, small, and then its price. Now, what the XML, the M stands for markup. That means that the data itself has markups around it. So this 2 here is the ID of the widget, and it has a tag sitting on it, a markup tag, ID with a less than and greater than symbol. Those are called corners that surround it and say that this is the name of the field, and then the slash ID is the end of that field. So what's between them is the data itself. Here we have the name of the widget with the name tag, and then the ending tag here with the slash name. So that's what's called metadata. It's data that defines or describes the real data. So all these things here, like the widget export, the name, the model slash price, that's all metadata. Those are the markup tags. Now, one widget is this part begins with the underscore widget export tag and ends with the slash widget export tag. So it goes on one after the other. It's plain to see that actually inside this file there's probably more metadata than there is real data inside of it. It's a huge benefit that it has metadata because the files are what are called self-defining. That is, there's no question when you open it up what a field's meaning is and so on as you go along. You can easily read the data as a human, but computers can read it as well. And one of the other benefits of XML, although we're not going to talk about it or use it in this class, is it's possible to have different data for each widget in here. So perhaps I might have a cost field on this widget. It would be the tags, less than cost, greater than, then the amount of the cost, and then the closing tag for cost. I could have that in one field, but not in another. And it works because the metadata tells you what columns are applied to this widget and what column will apply to the next widget and so on. When you open it up in your browser, you can actually click on these tags to collapse them if you want to just concentrate on parts of the data. And if I close this whole thing, I'll collapse all the data set completely. So that's what an XML file looks like. They go on and on and on, and they're popular these days because our ability to communicate and send files around has gotten a lot better than it used to be. So let's see how we import one of these things into Excel. Let's open up the spreadsheet. I'm on the Widget Models tab. I'm going to put my cursor on A1, which is where I want the data to come in. Then I come up to the Data tab and select From Other Sources, and in this list will be from an XML data file. Okay, so go ahead and click on that. Then we point to where the file is. I put it inside my Downloads folder. Let's go find that. Scroll to find it. There it is. And here's our XML file, 14-widget models. Now, when we brought in the CSV file, we did all this right here in the very same way. But here's where things get different. Because the XML file is self-defining, what happens is it knows actually how to turn it into columns and rows. We don't have to tell it to use a comma to separate it. You may get this prompt that says the specified XML source does not refer to a schema. Excel will create one based on that. That's fine. Just click on OK. And now it asks where you want to put the data, and you click on OK, and poof, it brings it in. Notice that because the data is so well organized and so well defined inside the XML file, it also brings it into what's called a data table that we'll study more in the next weeks ahead. But it has alternating colors on the rows, and it has some drop downs up here that we'll look at in the future. You remember that in the website it allowed you to keep a link to the original website when we brought data into Excel, and it would refresh it. This is similar but not quite as sophisticated. If you right click here under XML, you can say refresh the XML data, and if you brought down a new file and put it in the same place on your hard drive, then you can click on the refresh and have it reload the data from the new XML file. So that's how you bring data into Excel from an XML file.